my name is Daniel. This is the Lagoon 470 for sale named Sneeches. I bought this boat in New Zealand in April of 2023. My wife and family, we have sailed it to Fiji and back to New Zealand. We did that twice, including Tonga. And then more recently, about a month ago, we sailed it from New Zealand to Tahiti. So we're now in Tahiti, and this is the boat. I've made some substantial changes to it, some refit. Everything has basically been replaced, improved, or is new. So let me walk you through some of it. So this is the helm. First thing you'll notice is that the engines are both new. They each have approximately 55 hours on them right now. As soon as they come up, this one's got 55.8 on the starboard. This one's got 57.7. They are brand new engines, D2-50F Volvo Pentas. There used to be D2-55 engines in here, so they're basically the exact same engine block, so you don't have to modify the frame or anything. It's a nice clean drop-in fit. But brand new engines, they run great. Brand new Flexofold props, 3-blade folding props on the back as well. I'm just going to turn these off so that they don't beep at us. Those were put in March of 2026, so they're literally brand new. The electronics are all new, NMEA 2000 network, Raymarine all around. The electronics were mostly put in October of 2023. This is a 9-inch Axiom Plus. We have an autopilot, the ACU 400. We have a MFD, this is the I-70 display, and then a dedicated I-60 wind display that connects to a smart wind at the mast that was just put in March of 2026. So brand new masthead sensor. All the electronics work great, obviously. Well, the speed sensor, the little paddle wheel needs replacement. But other than that, everything works great. There is a VHF here that also, it's a remote mic for the one that's down at the nav station. The throttle cables are brand new, so forward, reverse, neutral, all of that works great. The engines also had new sail drives as well. So the whole package, basically everything in the engine room is new. The energy systems on the boat are also designed for maximum self-reliance. We have 220 volt AC. This is the European standard Euro plug. There's a bunch of converters that I have to take New Zealand equipment because the boat has spent a lot of time in New Zealand. So it's 50 hertz, 220 volts. Well, so that's the 220. There are outlets here in the front, each of the engine bays, and all throughout the cabins. They're all powered by the inverter. It's a Victron 3000 watt inverter. It runs really well. The solar on the back is the main thing that we use to power the boat. We have 3 430 watt bifacial panels that were installed new in 2024, including a modification to the dinghy arch so that you can put any panel that you want on in the future instead of one of those custom designed arches that only takes a specific size panel. There's also a custom Starlink mount that goes onto that dinghy arch as well. So all of that solar powers all of our lithium batteries, or it charges all of our lithium batteries. There are 4 12-volt lithium batteries paralleled. Each one's 250 amp hours for approximately 1,000 amp hours total. Victron Lynx combiner combines those 4 batteries. It's all very high-end crimped cables or hydraulically crimped, carefully measured to be the exact same length so that the voltage drop is minimal. We have 3 solar chargers, 1 for each panel. The solar chargers are also Victron. They're the 100/50 MPPT controllers, which means that they track the power point and get you the maximum amount of energy out of the panels. Additionally, should one of them fail, there's a spare on board, but you can also combine and parallel one of them in a true desperate situation and you'll still get full power. So I tried to design everything such that we would have maximum reliance because in the middle of the South Pacific, there's not a lot of repair facilities. So one of the custom features of this boat that came with it is this platform back here that kind of sits in between the back of the boat, the 2 transoms. And it's very, very handy. One for the life raft, which was recently serviced and recertified in April of this year. So it's good until 2029, 6-person sea-safe life raft. But also it gives you the flexibility to put all those jerry cans that you seem to always need in the South Pacific on the back and conveniently walk around and be able to get into and out of the dinghy without having to trip over the traveler lines for the sails. The person that I bought the boat from said this was the best feature, and I have to agree after years of ownership that yes, this is probably the best feature of the boat. So the dinghy is also brand new. This is a Highfield CL360 classic dinghy. It's in Hypalon, not the cheap plastic. I wanted to get some covers made for it, but we had to leave New Zealand before anyone could make the covers. So that's one thing I'd like to find, but might be up to somebody else. The outboard is from 2015, Yamaha 25 horsepower 2-stroke. It runs loudly and it smokes, but it's indestructible. My wife keeps hoping it'll die, so I'll buy a new one, but the mechanics all tell me that basically these things run forever. And so far that's proven true. This dinghy arch is really strong now that I added this 3rd arm. So this 3rd leg comes down and you can support the weight of the dinghy, the solar panels, you can do pull-ups on it, and it does not move at all. There's 0 flex at this point with this new arm. This was added in New Zealand by a custom fabrication shop as part of the refit that we did a few months ago. So this is put on probably February of 2026. So the anchor chain is brand new, galvanized G40 high test chain from New Zealand. It was new in April of 2026, 110 meters of 10 millimeter chain. Goes to a windlass, a Maxwell 1200 watt windlass that takes both 10 millimeter chain and rope. We only use the chain. The windlass is new from 2023, and there are some wireless remotes as well as a wired pendant that's in there as well. Anchor is a Rockna 33 kilo, recently regalvanized. It's buried in the sand over there. And then we have it marked every 10 meters with yellow line, and then we use different colors so we know which one is which for the length that we have out. So as part of the refit in New Zealand, late 2025, basically November 2025 to April of 2026, the rigging was completely replaced, all the standing rigging. So this rigging, brand new, from here up is brand new. The furler, we actually had the mast pulled off, and they checked everything on the mast. It's easier for them to replace things. But that was the first time the mast has ever been pulled, so I took the opportunity to clean up some paint and do a few other things with the mast. So all the standing rigging is brand new as of 2026. The furler was serviced, the foils, we replaced a couple foils in the furling structure, I guess you could say. The running rigging is mostly new from 2023. There's a couple old lines. The halyard here, most of the halyards are probably 4 or 5 years old. They all were inspected and deemed to be working great when the mast was down. And indeed on our sail here from Tahiti, we had no issues with the halyards. The sails are fairly new. The Genoa is new as of October 2023. It's a Raleigh Tasker, heavy Dacron, just offshore type sail. This boat used to have 150% Genoa, which I found to be excessively large. So when I had it replaced, I had them change it to 120% Genoa. So it's a little smaller, a little easier to manage. It has the foam luff, so it actually works pretty well rolled up. The mainsail is brand new as of April 2026. It has only sailed from New Zealand to Tahiti and basically around the islands here a little bit. It is a fully battened mainsail made in New Zealand by UK Sails. They also made the stack pack that it sits in. The stack pack is new as of 2024, I think February 2024. It's got a little bit of wear, but it works great. So one of the more involved projects that happened during the refit in New Zealand was that every single hatch and window was replaced. And this was done by the best guy in New Zealand. He's in Auckland, all marine glazing, does a great job. So if you don't know, these windows are structural on this version of Lagoon. This is the first one they made with vertical windows, and they made them very strong, but they have to be bonded in there. So he did a great job bonding all these windows, replacing them all, cutting them all. Every single hatch, the acrylic was replaced, the seals were replaced, any faulty hardware was replaced. So the boat does not leak from the hatches. It is wonderful, everything's secure. You can look through the hatches and they're not fuzzy and crazed, and they should last another 10 to 15 years. One of the other nice features of this boat is this hardtop bimini. One, you can walk on it and work on the sails, which makes it very convenient when you're flopping around in offshore conditions. Secondly, it functions as a water catcher. So there's a hose down the back there. You can catch rainwater. We will routinely fill 5 to 15 gallon buckets during like a 15-minute downpour. It works really well. So growing up, I grew up building houses, every part of the house, plumbing, electrical, things like that. I've installed my own solar panels on my house in America, so I know my way around mechanical systems fairly well. One of the things that I wanted to do when I rebuilt this energy system was make sure it was scalable and well done. I care a lot about it being well done. So on top, we have the 3 MPPT 150 Victron controllers. I also failed to mention that we have an Orion controller that we use, is used to take the alternator output and charge the lithiums. It's actually a nicer version of this. Well, never mind. Anyway, here's the 4 lithium batteries. These are NZ lithium, the best type that they make. They make an A and a B type model. These are the A's, of course. Down here, there's a Lynx combiner. And these battery cables, all custom made, all brand new. In fact, all the battery cables are new except for the ones that run to the engines. Those are still the original ones. So here at the nav station, we have some custom panels that have been built. You can get a trophy shop to engrave anything you want, and then I built these switching panels. So for instance, Starlink and Wi-Fi are just 2 buttons away. The stereo, you can press that and turn it on, and the stereo turns on. You can listen to your music. Additionally, you can do inside speakers only, outside speakers only, or both, just to make things fun. The radar, that's brand new, the Raymarine Quantum 2 radar from 2026. So you can turn it on and off while you're on passage, however you want to save power. The N2K is the NMEA 2000 network. AIS, we actually have 2 AIS systems on board that are fully independent. This one here is an ocean signal that goes off of the VHF antenna on the mast. And then this one here is a Matsutech. It's kind of a dedicated unit, and it comes off of the first spreader. So I use this one as an anchor alarm and just transmit AIS and receive AIS while at anchor, and then lets me turn the rest of the electronics off. We also have your Victron BMV here, the standard BMV-712 that almost everyone uses. Right now we are pulling in 10 amps in the evening sun with all the stuff that we're currently running as well. This is the Victron inverter control. So instead of having to run back to where it's buried, you can just turn it on. You can turn it to charger only. It has the current control. So if you're sitting at a dock or a shore power that only lets you pull 6 amps, no problem. You just turn it down to 6 amps and it will not blow the circuit. This boat can take up to 32 amp connections. There's a Hubble, there's shore power leads for both 16 amp and 32 amp connectors. And it has a New Zealand warrant of fitness that's good until 2027. Additionally, the masthead tricolor can be tricolor anchor. You just flip it however you want. We just leave it on all the time because it's a special LED with a solar sensor, so it turns itself on and off at night. When we're on passage, we flip it to tricolor. When we're at anchor, we just flip it to anchor. Additionally, the autopilot has an on and off. This basically turns it into standby so that the drive isn't constantly energized, saves you some power. And then there is the typical Raymarine SD card for the map packs as well. There's a computer button here. So I used to run OpenCPN, which is a little computer-based mapping software. Right now, this computer button just turns on this monitor, and there's an HDMI port, and you can plug in your laptop or your tablet or anything you want. So I have a lot of spare parts and other things to keep the boat running in any sort of condition. For instance, the autopilot, we have the current autopilot, and there's also the old autopilot mounted right next to it. So in a situation, you can dig out the old control panel, you can rewire it back up, you got to move the wires from the old one to the new one, and you have another autopilot working. Additionally, we have a spare linear drive for the autopilot on board so that you could recover from any sort of autopilot related failure. The water maker on this boat is a brand new from 2023 Seawater Pro 100 liter an hour water maker. It's an AC water maker. It runs off of the inverter. So you just turn on your inverter and it has enough power to run the entire water maker.